Come in.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Ella Miller with BMC Software.
Hi, Ella. I'm Jordan.
So nice to finally meet you, Jordan.
Nice to meet you.
How's your day been so far?
It's been really good. Thank you for asking.
Of course. What have you been up to this week?
Oh, besides work, nothing particularly exciting. It's been a busy week.
For sure, I bet. I've been really enjoying the weather this week. It's been really cloudy, and this week it's been very sunny, and I'm training for a half marathon right now, and so it's been nice to be able to run not in the clouds, which is awesome.
That's awesome. When's your marathon?
It's in March.
Okay.
So towards the end of March, I'm kind of halfway through my training right now, but it's been really nice weather for sure for that, but also a busy week for sure.
Yeah. Well, good luck with your marathon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I want to be respectful of your time today, so checking in to see, we have 20 minutes set aside for this meeting. Does that still work for you?
Absolutely.
That still works for you. And would anyone else have value being in this meeting with us today?
So it's just going to be me and you.
Perfect. That sounds so good. And for this meeting, I've come with a couple of things I would like to talk about, just to be respectful of your time. I have heard a little bit from different members of your team with Modern Healthcare about a couple of data issues, and I would love to hear your perspective on those and how those are affecting your company. And after talking with a couple other people, have an idea of a service that might be helpful to you, but I would first just like to get your perspective on a couple of things.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Is there anything else that you would like to talk about today?
No, that's all good.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, I'm aware that you work with a couple BMC products right now, and I saw on your LinkedIn that you just started a new role here, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. But I was wondering what your experience with BMC has been so far.
So I don't know too much about the company. I know that we have some of y'all's solutions in our environment, but I'd be happy if you were to tell me more.
I would love that. Well, BMC, we are a software company, and our whole goal is to create simple solutions to complex IT problems. We want to empower you to do business the way that you want to, with minimal road bumps. And we currently work with 86% of the Forbes Global 50 companies, so we are a trusted organization with large companies like yourself. And yes, how has that transition been to the new role in Modern Healthcare for you?
You know, it's been pretty smooth so far, which is all I can ask. I really enjoy the new role.
That's amazing. Is it similar to roles that you've had in the past, or are you working with completely different data and processes?
Yeah, it's similar to the roles I've had in the past. I feel like I've always been in the data space, but right now I'm working on more enterprise-wide data strategy, which is exciting, so I'm not as much in the weeds. I get to work on roadmaps and everything involving data. So what's our strategy? Where are we now and where are we going?
For sure. And along with that enterprise strategy, what would you say your goals are for the next couple of years?
Sure. I'd probably say we have three main goals going into the next couple of years. The first is we want to move to the cloud. Now this is going to be a very big priority for our CEO or CIO. Secondly, we want to increase developer efficiency so that they can work on solving more complex problems. And then lastly, we want to create a better system for early alert detection.
Okay, and jumping into that early alert detection, can you expand a little bit of what you mean by that?
Sure. So what we're facing at Modern Healthcare is we have a lot of siloed schedulers.
Okay.
And in order to get all of those siloed schedulers to integrate within each other, we have to write manual workflows.
Wow. Okay.
So not only does that take up a lot of time for our people, but our people aren't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be errors that are written within the code, and that's inevitable. But we have about an 8% error rate right now.
Okay.
And so that's impacting how we deliver our business outcomes, and we have trouble finding out where those specific problems are, and that's the biggest issue that we're facing.
And so you would say, out of those three main goals and everything that you're looking at, your biggest issue is finding out where the problems are when it comes to all of this data and the errors that are happening?
I'm not sure I would say it's the biggest problem.
Okay.
It's certainly a prong of a problem.
Okay.
I'd say we're probably more pressed about the amount of time and money it's taking for us to write all of those manual workflows.
Okay, so you're saying that the biggest problem that you're facing right now is the time and money that it is taking for these manual workflows?
Yes.
Whenever you're writing this manual workflow, I would love for you to walk me through the process of what that looks like, how long it takes, and how much that costs.
Sure, I would be happy to do that. So we've got about 250 developers that their main job is to keep our systems up and running as smoothly as possible. Now, it still takes around 1,000 hours per month to create all of these manual workflows, and that's probably around $55,000 per month spent in man hours. But we're really looking to increase our efficiency there.
Is there a goal number of hours that you're looking to get that 1,000 down to right now?
Yeah, among leadership, we've been talking about getting that efficiency level up by 50 to 80%. So we're looking for a pretty steep increase.
50 to 80% reduction in time that's taking, 4 hours. Okay. And for these 1,000 hours a month, would you say that's for all of your developers, or is that per person that's working on it?
So the 1,000 hours per month is for across all of the
across all the
developers.
boards. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. So looking to get that number down to 500. And for that reduction in hours, is the problem that you're facing that the manual time that it's taking that's like what the hours are? I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. With the 1,000 hours, is that due to the man hours it's taking to manually enter?
Yes.
Yes.
So the 1,000 man hours is directly associated to the time that's taking to code and correct those issues or find the issues.
Okay. I also saw on LinkedIn, building off of that your CEO is really big right now on innovation and being able to have the best technology possible. What does that look like in your role, and are you going towards anything right now to automate this workflow?
So we have a bunch of independent schedulers within our tools.
Okay.
So we do have automation. The issue is we have all these different components and they're not necessarily talking to each other.
Gotcha.
So that's where the manual part comes in. Not to say the entire process is manual, but that integration piece most certainly is. Our CEO is very much aligned with our CIO, and our CIO, their big priority is moving to the cloud. And so a lot of the tools that we use are cloud-based. But because they're so new, we have to write a lot of those manual integrations. So a lot of manual work comes with that as well.
For sure. And how far along are you in the process of moving to the cloud?
Oh, we still have quite a long way to go.
Okay. And I'm assuming a lot of those manual hours right now are going towards getting everything that you have and all of these different systems that you have across your entire organization into the cloud. And that must be difficult. We've worked with a couple of companies that have a similar goal of getting all of their information into the cloud, and they've had a couple of problems along the way just with all of these silos that they have and all of this different data that they're having a hard time concentrating it all into one place. Would you say that's something that you've come across, or would you have phrased that differently?
I would completely agree with that. That's exactly the issue we've been having. Everything's siloed.
Okay.
And it's hard to tell when something goes wrong because we can't see it all. You have to click into each individual scheduler, and that's just a pain. It takes up time, and yeah, I completely agree with your customers.
Okay. And with this process that you are currently going through for all of that, how has that decreased efficiency affected you as your role and also the company as a whole?
So let me start with the company as a whole.
Okay.
Because there's errors popping up and that's affecting our efficiency, it's ultimately affecting our business outcomes.
Okay.
So where our data is going to end up in the long run. So for example, one of our data pipeline gives us the data that we need in order to order and deliver our medical supplies on time. So if there's an issue within that pipeline, that means the hospitals are not getting the right supplies at the right time. That to say, it is so important that that is delivered on time because it's truly a life or death situation.
For sure. That completely makes sense, and that is definitely a great goal to have, that delivered on time every time, because you're right, life and death, that isn't just a small factor in what you do with the medical supplies being delivered on time. How's this affected your brands as a whole? I talked to Bai Chang a little bit, and she was just filling me in on how much innovation you're working towards and how many new products and processes you've integrated into the market, but that you've had a hard time with all of it, just streamlining all of that into one process.
Sure. We certainly want to be as innovative as possible. Now, a lot of the stuff that's happening is really on the back end side of things. I don't think in terms of brand media has technically seen that yet, so I don't think there's a big risk there.
For sure.
And we've been lucky we haven't had any issues affect a person's life yet.
That's so
Now,
good.
if it did, then that would be a completely different story. So right now we're good, but it's always a risk if we have these errors pop up.
And always good to want to be proactive in that instead of waiting until the problem has already affected people's lives.
Right.
For sure. Well, I've heard you talk today about the desire to integrate into the cloud being a priority for you, as well as the desire to reduce the number of man hours taking from 1,000 man hours to 500 man hours. And also just get all of your data in one place. As I've heard you mention that you have a lot of different platforms that you're using and had trouble just having visibility with all of them and integrating all of the different data into the cloud. Is that correct?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Would you add anything else to that?
No, I think you've got it all.
Okay, well, after speaking to you today, I have a product that I believe could be very helpful for you as the benefits of it align with the goals that you stated for your company, and I would love to share a little bit about it.
Sure.
I have a couple of visuals that are very helpful.
Okay.
But BMC, as I talked about earlier, we have the goal of creating simple solutions to complex IT problems. And one of our products is called Control M. And it's a software that integrates data and applications so that you can deliver business outcomes on time, every time. So going back to what you talked about with the hospital, this is a data that streamlines all of the different processes and technologies that you are using into one place and gives you visibility in one location for it so that you can get all of everything that you need to get out on time, every time, all of your business outcomes. And what that does is it automates your workflows. So this right here is a typical business workflow, and you can see you've experienced a lot of this, I bet, but just all of the different steps that go into this single workflow. So getting from the start to the finish, there's a lot of different roadblocks that people need to cross, and this can take a lot of time. And I'm assuming that a lot of the man hours that you're experiencing are people trying to figure out how to get through all of these steps to get from the start end to the finish.
Yeah, and then also finding out if there's errors in here.
For sure.
Where are they?
For sure. I would love to dive into that with you. I heard you talk about the 8% human errors right now and wanting to decrease that because it could be a life or death situation for people if hospital data isn't getting delivered on time. So Control M, with those errors, it automates your work processes. So it takes this web of data and web of steps and it puts it all into one place.
Okay.
So what you're looking at in this graph, let's say that these are 3 different computers, 3 different administrators, and you have one task that you are looking to do. So let's say with the hospital data, you need to get a certain piece of data from a very certain software that you are using. So instead of trying to figure out where the software is, the logins for that, everything that goes into this to get this one piece of data, you can just click a button on our software and it will go through this middle device that we have, and it'll get all of the data that you need from this side and automatically bring it back to you. So there's no searching involved, it just automatically gets you the data that you need on time. And with those errors, it decreases human errors. One of the big benefits of Control M is the reliability of it because it automates repetitive tasks. So instead of having a person even go through and look at this, you can create a workflow. And what that means is you can put in a task that needs to be done every certain amount of time. You can control that. Like, for example, if you have a payroll and you need to pay your employees on time, you can go in and schedule all of the different, I've heard you're in multiple different countries, so all of the different countries that you're in, all of the different pay methods that you use and all of their information, and it will automatically pay them for you, which decreases human error because nobody is going in every single time and making sure that it happens a certain way. So you can get the 8% error down to 0% if you were to automate all of the processes that you're finding error in. And from a logistical standpoint, this is kind of what you're looking at. So this right now is what this could look at from your perspective. Here are all the different administrative roles in your company at the top. And then these are all the different applications that you could be using. So I know that you are on many different systems to store your data, and then I'm assuming moving it to the cloud, you're taking data from so many different places and trying to integrate it all into one place. So it can get lost in this web right here, and a lot of time goes in for people to go in and find exactly what they're looking for. And down here are the processes that you're trying to accomplish, but having to go through this web of messy data to get there can be very frustrating. So BMC, what it does is it takes out this middle part. So you're able to automate all of your processes and find them all in one place. And it gives you complete visibility on one screen into every single system that you run. So there's no need for people to go in and find that certain information in a software that can be really tricky to navigate or tricky to even find where that information is. So this is my representation of our product. Just for a little clarification, I like to compare this to movies, just as a little fun demo. So what's your favorite movie?
Oh gosh. I'm a really big Marvel fan of the Marvel movies.
I also love the Marvel movies.
Okay.
I was watching all of them chronologically with my brother over COVID.
Yes, me too.
They're amazing. But it can be hard sometimes to find your favorite movie on your streaming service. I bet you've come across this before when you sit down and want to find a movie but have no idea what streaming service it's on.
Right.
So this is like taking all of these different streaming services and putting them into one place where you could just click to play the movie and it'll go through and find where it is and start it for you.
Okay.
So do you feel like you have a good understanding of the product?
I do. I do have a couple of questions.
I would love to hear them.
Okay, so the first is, right now, one of the biggest issues is that we have a lot of schedulers, but they are siloed. However, we have multiple schedulers already. So why do you think our solution to the problems we've been having is adding on another scheduler?
That's a really great question. So are you asking in regards to putting these all into one certain scheduler, or are you asking in regards to just how all of the different ones you're working with right now could connect together?
Not necessarily. It's more of what's the value of me adding an additional scheduler to the massive amount of schedulers I already have?
That's a really great question. The value of adding this with all of your current schedulers is the connectivity that it brings, because Control M has the ability to integrate all of the different schedulers that you have into one place. So let's say you have 5 different schedulers just in one area of your company. You can put them all in this company, or in this software. And instead of having to go through the 5 different schedulers that you have, you can have a screen with all 5 on them in the same place. So that'll save you hours just having them all in one place, seeing what you're scheduling, seeing the different times that things have to go out and are due, and instead of having to click through all of the different ones and have them in different places, you have the visibility all in one place.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Clarify.
Okay.
Yes. And another one that I had is, I have a decent sized team, but most of them are tied up on working with other schedulers or working on complex problems. So why do you think I need to implement this tool? If it's going to take someone from my team, I'm going to need to implement them and put them on the solutions that they're running it, or that they're implementing it in some way or form. So why is it worth me taking an extra person from my team and allowing them to spend time on Control M?
For sure. Are you asking in regards to training them on the product?
Not necessarily training, but running.
Running it in general. Gotcha.
Yes.
So another benefit of using this product is that it is very user-friendly. So first of all, from a training perspective, I know you're talking about an implementation perspective, just day to day, but from a training perspective, tech users and non-tech users alike find it extremely easy to use. So it will take basically no training time to get your team familiar with this product, just from companies that we've worked with in the past. But then from day to day, we have a couple of metrics with other companies that are very powerful with this product. But it on average decreases time to get to the root cause analysis by 50%. And I know you were saying sometimes it is hard for you to see exactly
What time?
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead and scan your QR code.
Yeah.